All right. I just saw Black Adam starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I had this, I had this set for tonight for 10:30. The movie started at 8:30. You know, you have all of the trailers and everything, so the movie didn't actually start until close to 9. And then I looked at my phone in the theater, and I realized that I'm not going to make the 10:30 time slot. So I changed it to tomorrow morning. And then I decided to just do this tonight because I'm doing an open science stream on my science channel. So let me make sure I can see myself. Okay. I'm going to make a quick announcement over on my original channel. I'm going to play the intro, and then I'm going to start, and then I'm going to stop. This is not going to be a long stream. I'm just going to, uh, I did a couple of TikToks. I did one going into the theater, and then I did like three TikToks after I left the movie theater, and folks were really responding to my TikToks. So I decided to do this tonight. So I'm going to make this announcement, and this is going to be a short stream, just capturing my thoughts on this movie. It was entertaining. I'm going to get to that. Oh, Artisan is here. Okay. Artisan, did you see it? If I'll try not to give a lot of spoilers. I'll just because I have one overarching thought. I'm going to play my intro really quickly, and then I'm going to jump in because I don't want to stay up all night doing this. I was just about to record my review. Okay, let me play this intro. Artisan, I'm just gonna maybe we can rock out together a little bit. I'm gonna play the intro and then I'm gonna hop in. Hold on.
That's good.
All right, Artisan, if you're still there, I'm gonna drop the link. I'm just gonna open up with I was actually talking to someone outside of the theater. He saw me doing my TikToks. And I'm just gonna say I'm a traditionalist. I'm gonna enable the I'm gonna have this visual here so we can look at Dwayne and me. So I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I'm a fan of the old rivalries, the old matchups and rivalries. This probably sounds more like a college football stream than a review of a movie. For me, Black Panther, I mean, not Black Panther. I'm going to mention Black Panther too. Black Adam. For me, Black Adam is a villain. Okay. In the 1980s, me and my brother collected comic books. My brother, I recall, had a 4-part Shazam Captain Marvel comic book series. Dr. Savannah was in that. Um, Black Adam was in that. I think this was after the Crisis of Infinite Earths because the entire Marvel family wasn't there. But Black Adam was one of the villains that Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, Shazam, whatever you want to call him, he was one of the villains that he faced. He was dressed in all black. He had his lightning symbol there. He had the Vulcan ears, and he was evil. So that's what I'm used to. I'm used to him being evil. I'm used to him being Shazam's natural rival and his natural arch enemy. The same thing goes for Superman and Lex Luthor. You can't have Superman without Lex Luthor, or Brainiac, or Bizarro, or General Zod. The same is true for Batman and the Joker and the Penguin and the Riddler. They all go together. Green Lantern, his arch rival, his arch enemy is Sinestro. The Flash, his arch rival is what? Captain Cold. Wonder Woman, her arch rival is the Cheetah. So for me, there's just a little something janky about Black Adam being a hero. And that's one of my biggest gripes about this. I see some folks coming over to watch. Please hit the like button if you clicked on this. I know sometimes people hop in and hop out. Um, okay, the Knights Palace is in the building. Have you seen it? Artisan saw it. Have you seen it? Let me know if you have seen it yourself. I just saw it tonight. It was entertaining. It was. I may give some spoilers away here for however long I'm on. It was entertaining. I will at least give it that. I did take some notes on my phone when I was in the theater. I'll go over these. Artisan is here. Artisan, give me a second. I'm just gonna go over my notes really quickly, and I'll bring you up. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I thought that so it took place in the fictional country of Kandak, which was a Middle Eastern country, that region of the world. In my brother's comic book, I felt like Black Adam came out of Egypt because he was helping build pyramids. Um, I felt like he was being portrayed like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2. Like they were teaching him things, they were teaching him references, and he was responding in a very robot like way. That was sarcasm. That's that it was very Terminator 2 like the way he was portraying the character, in my opinion. They gave us the Justice Society, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher. There was a lot of overlap. And Artisan, you can speak to this when I bring you up. It felt like there was a lot of overlap there. There was a lot of stuff I felt like I'd seen in the Marvel movies. So, and when you think about it, I guess Doctor Strange is DC's Doctor. I'm sorry, DC's Doctor Fate is Marvel's Doctor Strange. Atom Smasher is for DC is Marvel's Ant-Man. Um, They made Hawkman black. He was played by Aldous Hodge, who played MC Ren and Strata Compton, and he played Brian Banks. He had a very Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa look about him. Everything about him was very, very Black Panther like. Um, Pierce Brosnan played Dr. Fate. I don't know who the young woman was who played Cyclone. I'm going to bring you up now. He said, "Cool, do your thing." I'm almost done rambling here. Yeah, it took me a minute to remember who Cyclone was, but I think she was either a part of the Teen Titans or she was one of the Outsiders. Atom Smasher, the Atom, he could change size. That's why I said that was DC's Ant-Man. So that was the superhero team. They were working with Amanda Waller of the Suicide Squad and those kinds of things. So they had to get Black Adam to say Shazam to deactivate his power. And it turned out he had a backstory. He wasn't the original holder of those powers. His son was the hero back in the day, and his son gave him the powers. And it was just very, very convoluted, but it was entertaining. That's pretty much all I could say about it. They had to stop the villain from getting the crown of Sabak. That's all I could say about this. I'm a traditionalist, and I'm just not used to seeing. For me, Black Adam is a villain. I'm going to bring Artisan up to see what he has to say. What's going on, Artisan?
What's going on, Dr. Anwar?
Nothing much yourself?
I'm all right. Just on call, doing some work because this Black Adam shit has been pissing me off with some of the stuff I've been reading. So,
okay, what's pissing you off about it?
Mainly what's pissing me off right now. I was going to go into it tomorrow, but is
okay.
I think this is a lot of critic review bombing. For one, that's what I think it is, and I think it's really just going out there and trying to destroy the movie critically so people don't go see it because they are focused way too goddamn hard on the numbers since Thursday. And there's channels on YouTube who are doing like damn near every 2 hour updates and videos about how bad the numbers are, how bad the movie is. I'm like, I have never seen that. I didn't see that for Thor 4. That was a lump of shit. And everybody knew it. But this movie is getting it like bad from the critics, like for real. And it doesn't even make sense. It's like all of a sudden everybody woke up one day and hated The Rock. You know? It doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense to me. Was the movie the best movie in the world? No. Was it the worst movie in the world? No, it wasn't. Because I've seen Dark Phoenix. You know, like so I don't get where all this shit for the movie is coming in. So that's why I was gonna do my review because of like I'm kind of angsty. I need to go ahead and get my review out and get that done, and then go into tomorrow with all the venom that I wanted to speak about these people in this damn movie.
Okay, you know when I did do my quick Google search just now, and I saw the embed, and I did see a bunch of articles saying that he flopped and he did not do a good job in this movie. Mm-hmm. I thought,
yeah,
I don't know. My overarching thing is Black Adam is a villain. I thought the way they wrote the character, the way he was the way they wrote the character, he was very. The best thing I can say is very Terminator 2 like.
Well, I would say this: the version of this character that they're using right now is the recent Jeff Johns version of this character. It's not the traditional, white face, Vulcan eared, Widow's Peak, Black Adam, who was straight up built as the arch enemy of the original Captain Marvel Shazam. That's not the one that they're using. The one that they're using right now is straight out of like New 52, Jeff Johns' run of writing Shazam and getting who Black Adam is, what Kondak means to him, and who this woman and her son actually are to him now. That's why I think the criticism of the movie is kind of misplaced in some senses, because if you had been reading the comics, you know this is his current story. But if you
Okay.
haven't, all of this is just like, well, I don't know where any of this shit came from, so it makes no difference. But in that sense, I think folks should be looking at it like, well, it's the first movie for a character you know nothing about, so it should be compared to something like an Ant-Man or a Shazam from DC, where you didn't know shit about the character, and this was his first movie. But what I'm seeing is more focus on this, what The Rock said when he was pushing the movie, and how much the movie is making. And they've been watching this shit like closely ever since the early pre-screening on Thursday. And that's like, I've never seen that for a movie. Like, these motherfuckers are like hourly watching it like it's the stock market. I've never seen that for a movie that's not, the Avengers Endgame level movie. I've never seen that for a first movie. And they really going hard on shitting on it. The article I read, the videos I keep seeing, I'm like, Jiminy Cricket, dude. This is like, I don't know. Like I said, it seems misplaced. Is the movie the greatest thing in the world? No, it's not the greatest thing in the world. It is an average. I said it in my reaction that it's about average at best. It's an average movie. It's misplaced more than anything. I would think it shouldn't have been placed in the fall. It should have been placed in the summer, because then you'd be cleaning up. It's just a popcorn movie. And to everybody who says, every critic that says, oh, it's like the '90s all over again. You know what happened in the '90s? Masculine movies without wokeness. And that's what they're bitching about. That's what the critics are bitching about.
Oh, is
There's
that right?
nothing woke in it. Yeah, there's nothing woke in it. You know what you got in the '90s? Blade, Spawn. Those are movies that were in the '90s, of the '90s. Those were movies with lead black characters that nobody really knew shit about. They came out and did what they did, and their numbers were not good. Why? Because the overarching critics didn't care about that shit. They don't want to see a black character out there like that in front. Black Panther got a big push because it was Disney, but they didn't have any confidence in that movie. That's why they just let Ryan Coogler do whatever. Problem was, it turned around and made $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do for the second one? Now you're getting all the women. Now they got their hands deeply in it now. So I don't know. I think that the real critical hate is misplaced, because the article I read, the dude was saying it was the worst movie ever made. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Dude, I saw Geely. Okay? I've seen Geely, and Geely wasn't that damn bad. I've seen some of these movies that people have hung on it as the worst movie ever made, and some of them aren't it. So I don't know what the hell people are actually talking about. For me, it was a good popcorn movie. I got to see some dude out there kicking people's ass and taking names. I was fine with that. But that's what I wanted out of the movie. I wasn't expecting anything super major for a character that most people don't know anything about anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Knights Palace?
Okay. Well,
What he said, when I produce my movie, please don't come and see. Why are you saying that? I don't even get what that fucking means.
he might be referring to the many criticisms you're referring to. I did not read any of those reviews since you mentioned that. I'll probably take a look now and see what they're talking about. But it definitely wasn't a woke movie with all of the special groups represented. It wasn't that. But it was entertaining. It was entertaining, and it looked like they were trying to. It looked like they were acknowledging the other characters in the universe as well. I mean, you saw the Easter egg at the end.
Yeah, that was kind of spoiled. That was spoiled. That's kind of the Rock's fault for saying something about it, but it was spoiled. It was reported that he's. It was reported that at the world premiere, The Rock said that Henry Cavill was in the movie. right. I
Hmm.
haven't heard that. I didn't see the article, so I can't say. But somebody reported that that's who said it and who spoiled it. So a big reveal in the movie was actually spoiled right before the movie released. Me personally, I don't think The Rock would do that because he spent way too much time in front of the camera and hyping up movies to all of a sudden the one big movie for him that he's pushed to go forward all this time, he's going to spoil the very thing that would make people walk out of the theater excited. I don't think he would do that. So I have to see the news report or the video to say that he said that shit.
Okay.
The biggest snitch was camera phones. God damn, nice palaces. I think I remember him from the last time I was on this show. It's the motherfucker that liked to try to fuck with me.
Who's that?
Sorry, excuse my language. The Knight's Palace, Mr. Contrarian.
Okay.
I'm reading back over the comments that he put in there, and it's all
Okay.
him.
Well, Artisan, thank you for sharing that with me and whoever watches this. That I didn't know that Black Adam had that many interpretations or iterations. But it sounds like there.
It's not really iterations. It's just every time they start the DC universe over again, they actually go back and redo the characters' backstories again. And in the New 52, they redid everybody's character. That's why he comes back wearing that hooded cape and stuff. That's from the New 52 line of comics. That's what the same thing as Shazam is wearing. So when Jeff Johns went back in and redid the Shazam books and the Shazam family, Black Adam was in there too. But you got some history on Black Adam as well, more than just it's about my people and forget everybody else and I'm just a villain. That's why I like the scene in the movie where he actually destroys the throne because that's a departure from how he has been traditionally depicted, that he was like wanting to be a ruler.
Yeah.
And if you're changing the character from a white dude to a black man, I think it's actually more fitting that he would destroy the throne rather than sit on it and think I'm gonna rule over all these people because I just came back from 5,000 years of sleep and y'all need to be my servants now. To me, it was better that he didn't do that. Yeah, it's a cool picture, but okay, we can actually evolve the character a little bit more past that point of
So
having
Artisan,
no real thing.
so Artisan, was
Go
he a white man before? Because that was all I remember in my brother's comic book. They were building pyramids, so that was over in the Middle East somewhere.
He was over in the Middle East, and to me, traditionally, he always looked like a white dude. Now he's supposed to be. I can't remember what nationality or ethnicity he's actually supposed to be, but he's always depicted as white, but he's depicted as darker than Captain Marvel Shazam. Okay. So that's about it. And history of this world, Egyptians wasn't the only ones who built pyramids. Okay.
That's
So
true.
at that rate, he could have been a fucking Mayan. Since if you listen to Marvel, he could have been an Aztec or a Mayan. Don't know for sure, but he did have some melanin in
Okay.
him.
So Artisan, yeah, clue me in. So in this new what'd you call it, the new 52?
New 52.
Were him in that, are him and Captain Marvel, are they working together, or are they rivals in that? Are they arch enemies?
From what I remember, they brought him in and they tried to bring him back into the family, that he actually has his own role to play. That
Okay.
he's not just a villain. He's not a carbon cutout. I'm just the villain because I'm the opposite of what you are. They actually tried to develop that character the way it never was over the last, I don't know, 40 fucking years of its actual creation. So they tried to give him a little bit more story. And part of the more story they gave him is him caring about his actual people, which will fall in line with Sinestro caring about his people and whatnot, and defending them, so that you give them some leeway for the means that they go to protect their own.
Okay. Kareen has shown up in the chat. She asked, "What did I miss?" Kareen, I just saw Black Adam tonight. I was giving some thoughts on it. Artisan has been schooling me on the fact that this version of him is consistent with the version from the New 52. So I was used to him being Captain Marvel's arch enemy, but there's some validity to this interpretation that they've produced for us in this movie.
I mean, he still could end up being Captain Marvel Shazam's arch enemy. You just haven't. He just hasn't met him. That's it. He
Well,
just hasn't met him yet.
well, spoiler alert, everyone! Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. It looks like they're Amanda Waller has called in a favor from Superman to go handle him. So they're kind of starting to put some of these characters together, which is good. But he's supposed to be, in my mind, he's supposed to be Captain Marvel's arch enemy. So
And
so
yeah,
I mean, that was a good sign that Henry Cavill is back
yeah, that was a rock push.
in that role. And at the end of the Shazam movie, he doesn't, you don't see that it's Henry Cavill, but maybe they'll start to put all these characters together for us.
Yeah, that was a rock push. He pushed to get Henry Cavill back and have Superman show up. That was him pushing and using his leverage to get that shit done, because he was the one who blew the lid off of it just a couple of days before the movie came out. Is that the old regime at Warner Brothers had fired Henry Cavill. It wasn't that they just didn't have anything in the works for Superman. They fired him and kept it quiet. And that was that chick that was over there at Warner Brothers, giving you all these little girl movies with the female Superman, the female Batman, and all that shit. That was them. They wanted Henry Cavill gone. They wanted Ben Affleck gone. And Rock pushed trying to get this movie done all that time with them, kept pushing and wanting it to be the movie that he wanted it to be. Finally got some leeway on it when those heads of the studio left and the new guy from Discovery came in. And then that's why you got Henry Cavill coming back, because that's what The Rock wanted. But that's why it took so damn long to get the damn movie done, because they were fighting. They didn't want that stuff. They didn't want that masculinity. And that's what I think the movie is getting a lot of crap for too, is that it's way too masculine. It's way too masculine right now. And that's why you're seeing fans are liking it and critics are hating it, because the critics want that woke agenda, because they weren't going this hard at Thor 4 now, were they? Which is what you would compare it to.
No. Kareem says, I love Black Adam and we'll see it again. Aaron says it was, as you said, Artisan, it was a cool popcorn movie.
Yeah, it's a popcorn movie. So,
Artisan, just really quickly for us novices, what's the definition of a popcorn movie?
popcorn movie is something that's not deep, but you can watch it and be entertained and eat some popcorn and then get up and go about your day. Popcorn movie is what you would watch in the theater and just enjoy eating popcorn and watching, or it's a movie that you would just watch on a Sunday, right? It's a binge movie. Like, you want to sit down on a Sunday and watch some superhero movies, right? And you just put it on. You're not trying to get deeply into a whole bunch of stuff, but you just want to see some superhero action. This will be one of the movies that you could pop on quickly and just throw in there. You can throw that on. You can run right from that to Captain America: First Avenger. If you really fucking felt like it, you might be able to watch Captain Marvel and get some of that. First Avengers movie. It's a popcorn movie. You can enjoy it, get involved in it, and not have anything too tied up that you feel like you're dropping into the middle of the story. It's the start. It's the start for a character that did not exist in DC at all until this point. This is the first time the character has ever been even portrayed live action. It hasn't showed up anywhere outside of a freaking cartoon because they didn't know how to do it.
Okay, so Artist, let me ask you this. So the new 52, did they, because one of the trailers they showed before Black Adam was the next Shazam movie.
Mhm.
That in the new 52, was there a whole 5 to 6 of them? Like they
Yes.
make it good, and okay, so that's accurate too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The Captain Marvel family, or the Shazam family, goes way back to the original incarnation of Shazam, where he gave all
Yeah,
his family powers, and they all sat on the throne, right? What is it, Rock of Ages or whatever the fuck it's called.
Rocket
The
Fraternity.
throne that's destroyed in the first Shazam movie, that's missing, that's the throne for Shazam. I mean, that's the throne for Black Adam, because that's where he sits. That's his seat. All of them together, because they all get their powers from the wizard, they all have the same power. Only difference is Black Adam is the oldest. He's the one who's had the powers the longest. That's it. And he doesn't change back. He never changes back. He's always Black Adam like that. Billy Batson goes back and forth between Billy Batson and Shazam. Black Adam doesn't. He never changes back. He's always that way. So traditionally, like you, I'm an Xer. I remember when Black Adam was a straight up villain on the Legion of Doom and everything, because he was pitted like the opposite of Shazam, who was a hero, right? Just like Reverse Flash or Zoom is the opposite of Flash. That's how they did that stuff back in that day. But towards the 90s and stuff like that, it changed up a bit. They changed up the story a little bit more, and they tried to develop these characters a little bit more. Some of those villains got a little bit of rework. And then the new 52, everybody pretty much got a rework, because they tried to modernize them and give more depth to their stories of who they were, why they were doing what they were doing, and not the lazy cardboard cutout. He's just a villain because he's going against this guy in this book.
Hmm.
You know.
I was talking to another guy outside of the theater after the movie, and he said that in the DC universe, one of the distinctions between DC and Marvel was that the DC heroes always won, and the Marvel stories were a little more complicated. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate. From my point of view, DC comics were always a little bit, well, after what is it, after the 80s, they're always a little bit more heady. There's more going on. But Marvel was always more going on with the character itself. So whereas DC, it was always about the larger story, where Marvel was always more about the character. And to me, it's just the nature of how they work. DC Comics was a thing before Marvel became what it was. So Marvel had to set itself apart from what DC was doing to do their own thing. That's why I don't get bent out of shape and look at Doctor Fate like, oh, this is a knockoff Doctor Strange, so he's not important. No, Doctor Fate is Doctor Fate in DC, and he is important in DC. Yes, he may look like and seem like he's just like Doctor Strange, but he is not Doctor Strange. This is a completely different freaking character with his own story and his own problems and his own freaking issues. And thinking of it like that is, it basically tells you who people are. They don't know anything about this damn character, and they go to the closest, reference point that they have in their mind, what they can
Yeah.
relate it to.
Well, the imagery of Dr. Fate that they used in this movie, it was similar to what we saw Doctor Strange do
Yep.
in the Infinity Saga. Especially, I'm thinking about the
Yeah.
scenes where he recreated multiple versions of himself. That I saw Doctor Strange do that against Thanos on Titan in Infinity War. So it's like, okay, that's
And that was one of the things I saw as well, that there were, I said that in my reaction, that I wouldn't necessarily call them regurgitated scenes, so to speak, but there were gags that were used that they saw in something else. But I attribute that to how long it took to get this damn movie out. I mean, it's been 10, 15 years, right? So if it would have came out in the normal movie cycle, like, okay, he agreed to do this, we got 2-3 years to get this movie out, It would have came out before. I think it probably would have came out before Endgame. It would have, right? But
Yeah.
they didn't have the rest. They didn't have it out then, and they weren't trying to get it out then. So look, my thinking is half of the stuff was sitting in the can for a while, done, waiting for the rest of this stuff to get done. Finally get done. You finally get to film some of this shit. It's out. So how many ways, at least for this type of character, how many ways are you going to show what Dr. Fate does? Because Dr. Fate does a lot of different things, but in comic books, he does a lot of the same things that Doctor Strange does. That's why you can always have a versus between the two of them and figure out who would win and who wouldn't.
Yeah.
They do a
No, the
lot of
other
the
thing
same shit.
was him seeing the future and telling Hawkman, there's only one way this can happen. I was like,
Yeah.
that's exactly like Doctor Strange and Tony Stark.
Yeah. There's a sense in that because the only reason you understand that these studios nowadays will steal from each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people talk. That is not a Doctor Strange ability to do that. The only reason
Okay.
they gave him that was because he had the time stone, so he could look through time and stuff like that. That's not usually anything Doctor Strange does, and it worked in their movie. But it is something that Fate does because that's what Fate is. Fate knows what your future is. That's why you can't beat Fate. Fate is that person like Doctor Strange in the DC universe that if he shows up, you know everything is going to hell, but you just called in the biggest gun. That's who he is. Only person more powerful than Fate magically is, I believe, the Spectre. And the Spectre is like the judgment of God stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only person stronger than him. So Fate always sees the future and stuff like that. That's why he intervenes. Doctor Strange doesn't always see the future. Doctor Strange don't look into the future. So him doing that in that movie, there was a convenient reason for why he did it because he had time stone. That's not usually a power of his. That's why you don't see him doing it in the second movie. So to me, that reads as somebody got a line on what was happening in this movie, that Fate was in this movie, and they went ahead and took that shit and used it in their movie first. So it makes it look like, oh, you guys are copying Marvel when this movie was in development long before Endgame.
Okay.
Just saying.
How about that? Okay, so I'm gonna read some of these comments. Gerard Butler. He says, "So glad DC."
Yeah, I want to answer that one.
He says, "So glad DC got a movie outside of Zack Snyder." Right. I have hope they're finally moving in the right direction under the new leadership.
To answer Gerard's question, yes and no. If you don't like Zack Snyder as a director, that's all well and good. But understand that this movie is still happening in the DC universe that Snyder created, still in there because that's where all these characters are, except for Robert Pattinson, Batman, and the Joker.
I think he's. Wait a minute. I think he's trying to say outside of that they nailed one. I think he's saying the Snyder movies were good, and they finally nailed one that he didn't direct.
That he didn't direct.
Yeah, so they got it right.
Well, that's why I'm saying if he's talking about Zack Snyder directing, I can feel him on it. But he said outside of like it's something different other than what is the DC EU right now.
Okay.
No.
Black
Adam does not have Egyptian gods' powers. He has the same powers as Shazam, which is Greek gods. That's what Shazam stands for. The gods that he gets his powers from. Just saying, because he got them from the same person Shazam did.
Okay. Kareem says, in my opinion, this was way better than Doctor Strange 2 and Thor, Love, and Blunder.
Kareem out there with the machete.
Yep. Mike Palace says, we're going to make a horror movie that will terrify and petrify all Black women nationwide film movie called Father's Rights. Mic drop. Okay.
Father's rights. Subtitle: The
Um.
kids come with me. That'll do
Okay.
it.
That's funny. That's funny. Okay, it's a joke, but hey, being evil is humorous.
Being evil can be
Uh,
humorous.
he says artisan, and I think that's me. That was the most
DB.
noticeable thing about this movie. They seemingly made it difficult to place a timeline where this all began.
They didn't set a time in the space of the DCEU of where it happens, what event it happens before or after, and that's probably just because of how the movie had to be made. They didn't want the movie to be made, and they weren't giving him anything else to work on, so the movie had to stand on its own. So it can't really rely on anything to say, hey, this ties into this here, this ties into that. He had to make basically a solo movie, and at the fucking 11th hour, after new leadership is there, he got to put Henry Cavill in there, and that's why they filmed that scene, and it's so brief. Because what did I hear? They just filmed that scene like last month or something like that and put it in the movie. It wasn't there before then.
Okay,
So
but
I'm not surprised that you don't have a time frame, because a time frame would actually give you where it was situated in the DCEU. And since you know the past regime was sitting there trying to throw away all of that stuff, they wouldn't be able to give you a time frame, right? So
yeah,
it's understandable.
and, I felt like in that boy's room, I felt like the imagery they were acknowledging all the other. They were acknowledging the Justice League members in his room.
Yeah, because they were there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
those
And, and,
characters
and,
all
and
existed.
and when you say they didn't want to make the movie, you're talking about the previous regime.
Previous regime at Warner Brothers. That's why it was taking so long to get this movie done.
Okay.
Like, dude, it takes about two to 3 years to make a damn movie. It does not take 10 to 15 years to get a movie made, especially not by a major studio. Come on now. Come on, think about this shit. It didn't take that long for that piece of shit Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
They rushed that motherfucker out.
Hey, guys and gals, if you haven't, please hit that like button. The Nice
Yeah,
Palace
excuse
says,
my
I feel like,
language.
no, that's cool. He says, I feel like the director did this movie as an audition for a Marvel film. Even in the credit scenes, it was straight up about Marvel. Are you referring to the Easter egg or Nice Palace?
Yeah, because DC has had its own post-credit stingers for a while now. You go back to Man of Steel, you go back to any of that. Post-credit scene in Man of Steel was when he threw the rocket into the ground and said Wayne Tech on it.
Mm-hmm.
Told him to stop trying to see where he hangs up his cape. He's here to help, and that's the end of it. And bounced. That was a post-credit.
Okay.
It's a passion project for The Rock that looked amazing. And yeah, it was a passion project for him. It was. He wanted to bring this character to the screen. And that's why I don't shit on him for it, because him bringing this character to the screen is just like Wesley bringing Blade to the screen. It's just like Mashallah Ali trying to bring Blade back to the screen. And you see what kind of resistance they keep hitting when they try to bring one of these masculine black male characters to the screen. It's always a bunch of drama, a bunch of hiccups, and a bunch of BS happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the critics ain't usually behind. Just saying.
And Gerard Butler says, I love everything Snyder. He says, lately they haven't been able to get anything right besides Justice League and Aquaman.
Well, that's the funny thing, because Aquaman was right, because this is another one of those characters they didn't care about. So James Wan got to do what he wanted with the old regime, because the person that was overseeing those movies was Walter Hamada. So Asian for Asian, they was fine with each other. Asian for this black dude, black Samoan dude who want to make this movie, hiccups, problems, stalls. You tell me what's what.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and thank God this was woke free. Yes, I appreciated that. I appreciated the hell out of that. That's what you should have had from your Thor movie. somebody with lightning powers actually kicking somebody's ass, and not sitting there acting like, "Oh, my hammer is upset. Let me make sure my other girlfriend is okay." Shut up. That's what they should be comparing this movie to. How good is this movie compared to Thor 4? How masculine is Black Adam versus how masculine was Thor? You come out looking really stupid, don't you?
Okay. So, Artisan, you said you have a review coming up
Yeah, I'm
tomorrow.
going to record my review when I get off of here with you. I'm going to go ahead and record just the spoiler review, and then I'll go into my angst with this crap tomorrow on my stream.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at some of these articles and some of these reviews online. So I can
Yeah, I'll send you one of those articles. You'll read it and be like, what the hell? You'll see that the person who reviewed this and wrote this article doesn't know the characters, didn't even really watch the movie. Didn't even watch the movie. He just wrote a review and called it the worst movie ever. And I'm reading the article and I'm seeing inaccuracies right in the first 5 lines. It's like, that's not what was happening. That's not what the character was. That is, it's like, you don't know anything about these characters or this movie. You just wrote a hit piece. And that's what I took it as. It's just a hit piece.
Okay.
So.
Okay, before we wrap up, because I'm going to shut this down soon, because it's after midnight here. I know some guys are going to be going until 4 a.m. What do you think about? I'm talking about Art of More. What do you think about the Wakanda Forever trailer? This version of it, this last one.
This last version of it, I missed a little bit of it because I don't want any more spoilers for that movie. But I saw a piece of it that they were showing more of the Midnight Sisters and stuff like that, and I'm like, just don't put the lesbian stuff in there, and I'll be happy, because that's unnecessary. And it killed that World of Wakanda comic that they had. That killed that whole book. So if they throw it in there, you'll know what was going on with the whole movie. If they leave it out like they did in the first movie, then you might have hope for the movie. But I didn't really see too much of the trailer.
Okay, so wait a minute.
I did see the one where they just reveal all of the costume with Shuri. I just thought it was really funny. They dropped that shit right on the Thursday of the geek release of Black Adam. They dropped the trailer for Black Panther and showed Shuri's costume finally. I'm like, oh, well, Marvel is petty. Petty.
Okay, so you said hopefully they don't put the lesbian stuff in there?
Yeah, because the Midnight Sisters, 2 of the Midnight Sisters are actually lesbians, and that's why it's a big deal to see if they're in there. They're an offshoot of the Dora Milaje, but you have to remember the Dora Milaje, comic book wise, are potential wives for T'Challa the Black Panther. So it's not a lot of them, right? They're just potential wives, and that's why they are the King's Guard, because they're guarding their king. A couple of these Dora Milaje, who are Midnight Sisters, end up getting into it with each other, and that was brought in, I believe, by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And so they end up being some lesbians, and then they end up leaving the Dora Milaje, trying to help plot the overthrow of the kingdom of Wakanda with T'Challa on the throne. Now, nobody was really liking that shit in the comics. They tried to spin those characters off into the world of Wakanda comic book, which is what the original title for this Wakanda Forever movie was, till they changed it. And they changed it because the comic went down in flames. Nobody bought that shit. And they had to walk away from it. I don't even think it did a year, 12 issue. It didn't even get 12 issues. And that book was canceled. So they took that name off of this movie and changed it to something else. So, but they keep showing these Midnight Angels in there, and I'm like, it better not be those 2 characters, because one of them was I believe one of them was a Okoye, and that's why I was happy in the first movie that they paired her up with the male. Yeah, Wakabi, and didn't have it. Oh, well, she's supposed to be the one that was the lesbian, so we'll see what happens. And if that's why you see Midnight Angels going against Dora Milaje, is that this is her old lover pissed off, coming back to get at her.
Kareem says, I think they will. Michael Cole says she will be playing queer.
Michael Cohen, yeah. See, that's why they keep trying to drop that character in there, but they haven't said that shit yet because Marvel has to know that part of that queer stuff, that queer play, is what got Thor bombed. That's what Thor bombed, right? So they're not saying it, but they're showing that character to let you know it's there. So if you read comics, you know what that character is and who it is. You already know that's part of that character's story. You're just waiting to see if they actually do that in the movie or not. Now they're not going to say that up front because they want everybody to show up for this movie. They don't want you to not show up for this movie. That's why they're using everything regarding Chadwick's death and grieving over him to get you to come see this movie quickly. Even though everything else they show in the trailer ain't got nothing to do with no males really outside of Namor. It don't. It's
So are you
nothing really for you to want to see.
so are you saying all of this paying tribute to Chadwick and T'Challa, this is just a sales ploy? It's just a sales.
It's a sales. It's to me, it's a sales ploy.
Okay.
To me, it's a sales ploy. It's a way to get people in the theaters by guilt or remembrance or whatever the hell else, and then you'll get there and get the actual message they want to send you. Because the other article I saw today is about, was it GQ magazine interview with Ryan Coogler, and he said that the script for Black Panther 2 was actually done before Chadwick ever died,
Wow.
and after he died, then they wanted to make some other changes. Because I said that before, it's like this was he already knew he was going to step down as Black Panther, that he wasn't going to be Black Panther in the second one. I had said that earlier, right after the first one. Like, yeah, sure, he will get it, and then he'll get it back by the third movie. Only problem was that Chadwick actually died, so that threw everything into a tailspin. But that's also why they're really resistant and really firm on, no, we will not recast T'Challa. It's not because they don't want to; they want to honor Chadwick Boseman. Get the fuck out of here! No, that's not what that is. That's not what that is. That's to keep that character on the shelf. That masculine black male character who was sitting up looking white folks in the face, not taking none off of him, set his ass on the shelf and give you everything else but that. And that's what I'm seeing in the trailer. It doesn't show me anything else but that. So, and they still firm on, nope, they're not going to recast him. He's just dead. So, why are you trying to hype up the fact that, oh, we're having a remembrance of him being dead in this movie? You know, it's like a 3-card Monte, right? It's showing you one thing so you don't pay attention to what the other hand is actually doing, but they're suddenly telling you with everything else they're showing.
Yeah. I'm going to read this comment and then I'm going to try to wind this down. Jabbar says, I'm really looking forward to seeing Black Panther. So far, it's looking like a heavy female presence. Yep.
Even underwater.
I'm not feeling the dilution of masculinity. Do you think there's any chance M'Baku plays a bigger role?
No. The only chance I see M'Baku playing a bigger role is, and I'll say this, that I'm going to see the movie opening day. I'm going to see the movie to support the black folks who's doing it and everything else, right? But I see M'Baku playing a role is that he can tell you how badass Namor is, and then you can see Namor kick his ass. And that will set him up for how much of a threat he actually is. So when Shuri comes along in her Black Panther costume and kicks Namor's butt, you really believe that she's doing something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think is going to happen. But I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm happy I'm wrong on some shit like that. But
I mean, in the
No,
trailer,
it's not looking.
he says something to the effect of, your protector is gone now.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's more of a line towards T'Challa, Black Panther being gone, because you have to remember that this movie probably has a time jump inside of it, and one part of it happens after the snap when both T'Challa and Shuri were dusted,
hmm
and there's a 5 year span, and then it picks up again with Shuri and T'Challa coming back, and then something has to happen to get T'Challa out of there to have Shuri back and becoming the Black Panther.
Okay. All right, Artisan. Hey, thanks for coming up and sharing your expertise.
No, no problem.
I'm looking at this. I mean, I left the theater thinking one thing, but now I know that there's the new 52, so this is consistent with what was
Yeah,
written
that's
already.
yeah, that's why I was like, do I want to listen to Dr. Anwar? I don't know. I don't want to mess him up. But
No, no, no. I mean,
yeah,
I'm open to being corrected, and I can admit when I don't know. There are things that I don't know,
no
that's
worries.
helpful because I was looking at the Shazam trailer and I was looking at Megan Good and that entire group, and I was kind of looking at that like it's like the United Nations, you know.
It does look like United Nations now, but
But
that's not what the Shazam family was originally, I don't believe. But
no,
yeah,
no.
it does look like the United Nations. Very diverse.
But if that's in the new, yeah, if that's in the new 52, then then they stuck to the source material. I think that's pretty much what I asked for. Stick to the source
Yeah,
material.
yeah. He will, if they go ahead and push forward and do a Black Adam 2, regardless of what critics are saying, and do a Black Adam 2, you will see him meeting up with Shazam eventually. The picture I saw, though, I talked about it last night, which was a video of a premiere that The Rock was at, and Zachary Levi was there with him. And the two of them standing side by side, it's like, dude, this does not look right at all. The Rock is way too tall, way too big for me to have a believable fight with these two on screen. Because little is known, it's like that costume that the Rock is wearing in Black Adam, it has no padding in that costume. It's just him, right? Zachary Levi's costume is full of padding. So it's like, wow, how would that work? Because he's really a skinny dude.
Okay.
He's gonna have
Okay.
to bulk up a lot, make that look believable. Like, no, he's gonna get killed. So I don't know. It's just me. It's just me. The visuals off, but it'll happen eventually. As long as they do another movie, it'll happen.
Okay. All right. Well, I will look out for your review, and I'll be listening into your stream tomorrow.
All right. Have a good one. Appreciate you
Thanks,
letting
sir.
me come up and batter around with you. I just wanted to listen to what you had to say. I didn't think you were going to write me up.
Okay. No, no, no. I'll just give you my few thoughts on what I saw, and um, it was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Wow, you didn't even say you hated the kid.
You know, I was kind of indifferent about the kid. I mean, I like the fact that he had all the they used him to nod to all the members of the Justice League.
Hmm.
I thought that was cool. But otherwise, I wasn't so focused on him.
Me either. I just thought he needed a butt whooping. He didn't have no black parents. I said, that kid is in everything, dude. He needs a butt whooped. Obviously, his daddy is dead because nobody is checking him.
Yeah, I liked his mother though.
Yeah, mother has some spunk. She has some spunk to her. She has some spunk. My homeboy Sam was telling me about the scene he liked with the mother, where even though Black Adam is in the house and the soldiers show up, mother went at the soldiers, and then still stepped up to Black Adam and was telling him something about himself. It was like she got some spirit.
Mhm.
Got some spirit. That's okay, but she did know when to fall back. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna let you get out of it. It's 12. It's 9 on my side, so I'm sure you're tired.
Yeah. All right, Artisan. Thanks a lot, bro.
All right, appreciate you. Peace.
Okay. Yeah, everyone. I want to thank Artisan because I know when my knowledge set is limited, and it's very helpful that he came up and said there was an actual precedence for that version of Black Adam, because all I really knew was the 1980s comic books that me and my brother collected. So, all right, everyone, I'm going to shut this down and I'm going to jump in the bed because it's after midnight, and doing a science stream tomorrow and have a bunch of things to do tomorrow. So, everyone, yeah, please, if you're watching this on the playback, please hit that like button if you want to donate something to the channel. That information is below in the description box, and the link to my newsletter is down there as well. Yeah, we're about 2 weeks out from Wakanda Forever. So yeah, I will definitely make a reaction to that once that comes out. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of reactions to Wakanda Forever. So everyone, thank you for coming and hanging out in the chat. Gerard Butler, Aaron Peters, Kareem, The Nice Palace. I appreciate that. So there are other places you all could have been right now. So everyone, stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your night. And as always, remember, your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.